Okay, I'm recording. And I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. And share. Okay. Okay, come back up and slideshow from the beginning. Okay, that'll live with you. Yes. Hello.
Hi, you cut it out when here. That's the only thing I heard.
You're cutting out too.
Oh, okay, let me see if I can make it a little bit better. Okay, I got it at 100%. Better? No.
Yeah.
Oh, better. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. This is mine. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so it's just up and down, right?
Yeah, yeah. Did you turn it on?
Yes. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, guys, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcela Alvarez. I'm going to talk about women in the workforce. But I just want to ask the guys that this is also for them. Okay? Sure. Because it says women. All right. All right. So I have my handy dandy notes because there's some things I really want you to know. Okay, and ask me questions. All right, I will have a section towards the end, so you can ask me any questions you want. Okay, because I know there will be some afterwards. Okay. All right, so I am currently occupational safety manager for BNG Foods. I've been working in the agriculture industry for the past 13 years. So yeah, I love to say about it. Okay. And so let's get started. All right, so I've always been into numbers. I have a background in economics, so I've always been curious about statistics, numbers, people behavior. Anyway, so it was very interesting to learn that since 1966 is when employers were requested to submit demographics to the government, okay, in order for the government to have numbers of, people's race, gender, ethnicity, so on and so on. Okay, but, although if you look at the charts, and I have the chart that corresponds to the charts, women have been getting more and more as the years go by, which is great, right? But unfortunately, there's still some biases integrated in the workforce culture. Okay? And I have to say that in agriculture is still very strong. Okay. So the rest of the presentation, I'm going to talk about how do you stand up for yourself, okay, in a male-dominated industry. Okay. As I mentioned, this is for you guys too. Okay. All I'm going to say, regardless of your gender, you can apply that as well. Okay. One of the things I really want to. Okay, press the wrong button.
Oh, you know what? It's right by you're supposed to put it like this in your finger, and it's that one. Should be that one.
It's with the next. Oh, it says talking.
Oh, no, that's the
Okay.
okay, why isn't this going? Yeah, it's on.
It's on.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
All right.
So it should be the one right next to the what do you call it thing? That's really good of me. The one next to the what do you call it thing is the one that makes you go forward.
All right, so put in my finger. So I should be directing somewhere.
No, huh. I don't know why it's okay. You know what? Hang on.
Yeah, just go down.
I'm gonna be your clicker.
All right.
There we go.
So I think that what made me survive in the industry is more than The yeses, it is the no's that I've been saying. Okay, no is a very powerful word, okay? The no, it allows you to set boundaries. And it's important in whichever area of your life you want to apply. Now, by saying no, I have allowed myself to work equal to men, all right? In which ways? I'll talk about it next, okay? You want to go further down? All right, so I'm going to talk from my professional experience. And so working in the field dominated industry such as agriculture, I have been asked, I've always said I have been asked to play two roles. Okay, I'm either the mother, the one that's counseling, the one that is the good one, the one you can always go to for advice, or the witch. Okay, what are the two? Okay, I'm the one who is going to be disciplining everyone. I'm going to talk, you might not want to listen to me, but I'm going to have to, you're going to have to hear me anyways. So I have always been on those two extremes. Okay. And the reason why is because I've often found myself, okay, that being a woman, because I've been in companies where I'm the only woman and surrounded by 30 men. So usually, and what I'm about to say is not only for for women, but I've also seen this in, for example, in people that are fresh out of college, that they got a position of authority, okay? So I always tell them, for example, when it comes time to, they're going to manage, people. What do you need? What do you need to do? This is what I always tell them. Okay, regardless of your position. Okay, if you're new to the industry, being a man or woman doesn't matter. Don't let yourself do the dirty job. Okay, again, going back to being a witch. All right, and that is why the no is very important. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples. Right. When I started working in the industry, my position was HR. So definitely I had to be what? The mother, right? I'm always being asked for advice. So I gave advice, okay? After I give advice and instruct what steps that should be taken, then what do you expect? It was to be done, right? And when it didn't get done, and when I requested things to get done, then I became what? The witch. Okay. So my advice to you, okay, because we all, well, not all, but we strive for more, right? And you might find yourself in a position of authority, all right? And if this is the case, okay, you have to be very consistent. And this is what I'm going to talk next, okay? Want to go down? Very consistent, okay? How do you see consistent, okay? How does it help you, okay? It helps you that once you establish, okay, it helps you not to bend any rules for anyone, okay? Because you might often be asked to bend rules. And being, for example, my experience in companies, I'm the only woman, you kind of, want to work with everyone, work as a team, okay? But not because of that, I allow myself to bend the rules for anyone. Okay, I was always consistent, and that's how I got people to respect me. Because they knew that if today is a no, tomorrow is going to be a no, and the day after is going to be a no, and so on and so forth. So, and again, it applies for guys too. Okay, I've seen this too. Your position of authority, so your superior comes to you and says, you know what? Instead of doing this, I think should be done, let's do this, right? And it's breaking the rules. And be confident that when you say no, it's a no, because it shouldn't be done that way. Okay? Don't bend the rules for anyone. Be consistent, okay? So consistency, okay, in order to be consistent, what do you have to have? Okay, we check the fingers from the left to the right. What does it say? Commitment, okay? Next, sincerity, competence, right? Trust, integrity. What else? Credibility, very important, okay? And that's how, by implementing all those characteristics into your professional life, that's how you become consistent. okay? And time is gonna go by. And then when they know when you say no, guess what? They don't even ask about this. They're already gonna know the answer. Right? All right, so, you know, now, consistency helps you throughout the time to build habits, okay? And for everyone to also what? Be consistent, right? From the habit as well. This is very easy, you know, especially if you, let's say, you're dealing with a certain situation. I'm often faced with the challenge of, and the question of, you know, whether I letting a person go or not, which is not an easy decision, okay? But it's not up to me. What do I go back? I go back to the rules, okay? I go back to being what? Consistent, okay? I don't bend the rules, because if I bend the rules today, then guess what? Later on down the road, I have to bend them again. Right? So that's how, and regardless of what industry you are, whether you're a man or a woman, consistency is what is gonna get you to where you want to be. Okay? And I want in a professional life, for example, you let's say want to become, okay, tell me something, architect, right? How do you get there? Being consistent. Okay. All right, so you want to go down? Okay. All right, so I always tell them, okay, and tell them I'm referring to whoever, because I'm often having to speak to other persons of authority as well. Okay? When we come to a decision, very difficult, you know, like letting someone go or not, I always tell them that we have to play Lady Justice. Okay, how is Lady Justice described? Okay, what do you see in that image? Okay, it's a balance, right? And it's justice is depicted by what? What gender? Mhm. Right. Yeah. So I always tell them that regardless of who it is, you have to be fair. Yeah. Don't, you know, not because, let's say a person is, you know, has been working for us for, let's say, 5 years, and they broke the rules, they broke the rules. One time, that's all it takes, right? So regardless of who it is, you have to be what? Mindful, you have to be equal. You don't have to look at who it was, but what was that? Okay. So I've met throughout my career in agriculture, I met very powerful women, right? Women that in our community have key roles in which they have, and they often tell me they have to play with the Lady Justice. They have to be fair. I have to be the one they go to for advice, and the one that has to implement the rules and discipline, okay? By being what fair, okay? So we're having that equilibrium in terms of, you know, what we know it should be done and what was done, you know, looking at, you know, having to hear everyone and come up to a decision, just, you know, be equal, okay? And all the women I've talked to often are challenged by having to be fair, right? Because you're often seen as what? The witch, right? And you, I've heard it many times, okay? And let's go down to the next one, all right? Now, once you are surrounded, or in my case, okay, let's say you're the only woman surrounded by 30 men, or vice versa. So you always, okay, you can never, ever, ever just do the job by yourself. It can be done. Okay, otherwise you will last what, 2 days. Okay, don't let anyone add to your workload. And how are you able to accomplish that? By what it's, you know, what it says highlighted there below teamwork, it says combined effort. Okay. Combined effort in terms of what? You know, and when it comes, you know, making some decisions in terms of employees, let's say in my case, you know, getting a certain type of equipment, I'm not the only one who chooses what to do, you know, we have to all what gather, okay, and make up, you know, with our combined opinions, you know, come up with a decision, all right? So when you're in a position of authority, you can't do the job by yourself. Okay? You always And this is what my advice for women and men, okay? Work as a team. Okay? Prior to making to any decisions, you know, don't, although you know what should be done, you have to work as a team, okay? You have to ask for feedback. You know, we have to, you know, set up a meeting and talk about this issue, okay? Because it's important for us. That way, guess what? When someone else is having out another department, in my case, has to make a decision, they get what? They go come back to me because I need your feedback. So mutual retrospective, okay, that's what, you know, makes a teamwork. And it's difficult because it takes time. It can be done, it takes time. But again, you need to be consistent and, you know, take everyone into account when making a decision. Everyone, why? Because when, let's say, in my case, new equipment arrives, or we establish a certain procedure, we all agreed, you know, on what needed to be done and what facility needed to be chosen. So that is my advice for you guys, okay? If you have any questions, you wanna go down? The next one, you know, you can ask me anything. I'm open to answering the difficult questions, okay? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hardest things for me, transitioning to manager role was, yes, like, I need to make sure that things got done.
Mhm.
It's challenging for me at first to delegate.
Delegate, yeah, I
Just
understand.
because you tell somebody what to do, doesn't mean that you're being lazy, or, you know, you can't do it yourself.
Uh-huh.
You can't do everything. So
Okay.
It's like hesitation.
I'll give you some advice. As I mentioned, you know, right at the beginning, I was either the witch or the mother, and more sometimes I was the witch, okay? So what I did, I had to work with my, in this case, I was, well, when I transitioned from human resources into occupational safety, now I had another role, right? So I was, at this time, I was working for another company. So seeing the issues that I have, especially with discipline, that was my biggest issue, discipline, implementing discipline. Why? Because, you know, well, yeah, the employee broke the rules, but he has been working for us 5 years. How are we gonna let him go? Or let her go, right? Okay. Okay, all right. So when it came time to discipline, that was my very first challenge. I spoke to HR and I said, okay, I want to see the reports, okay, or the sheets when we, you know, implement discipline, right? I found out that it was not like it was a paper in writing, you know, a format that you have to complete to discipline an employee to follow up. But it would just request the signature of the employee, signature of, in my case, safety manager, and that was it. So what I did, I asked HR that I wanted also a signature of supervisor or a witness. Otherwise, it could not be processed. That way, when it came to discipline, it was just not only me, but it was the supervisor, the person, and me, right? So I had to integrate them to work as a team, because I cannot be seen as the witch. It was not my decision. You broke the rules. We know that, your supervisor and you know that. So therefore, we both, you know, we're gonna have to talk to the employee. So I asked HR for that to get done, and it was crazy because nobody wanted to go, right? They would just send it over to me like, yeah, you go take care of it. No. Who is their supervisor? You? I need a witness. Right? I need a witness. It says right here, it can be processed without a witness or a supervisor signature. So it wasn't just only me. It wasn't just only me. So you have, you know, and this is what I did. You have to, and that's, I go back to the teamwork. Okay, you have to work with, in this case, with me working with HR. I said, you know, this is way too much. I cannot be seen as the person who fires everyone. This is not. I often got asked by the employees if I was there to fire people. Okay, I said, well, first of all, I don't fire people. People fire themselves. All right. So as soon as I started getting a couple of comments, because people will come and tell you, and they will be more than honest and open. All right. I said, no, I mean, the truth is not. I'm here to make sure that the same way you come into work, that's the same way you leave. A little bit more tired, but ready to come to work the following day. Right? So I had to think of ways of how am I going to integrate their supervisor so they know. I mean, the supervisor came to me and said, Well, the employee wasn't wearing their equipment, take care of it, all right, and they walk away, no, there's no way. I'm not gonna do what, the dirty job. All right? HR, hey, I need a witness and I need a supervisor, otherwise please don't process this because this is the issue I'm having. And sure enough, and then from then on, it took time, but they get back, all the excuses, hey. HR can process it, so. I always say one thing, okay, and this is for everyone, if it's not in paper, it's vapor. Put everything in writing.
For, it's kind of mentioning for my company, what I did was like, took one of the hiring practices that the Orange County Sheriff does.
Uh-huh.
So when you're going through their process, they have a supervisor, deputy sheriff, and
Mhm.
they have a civilian roles like a
Mhm.
reporter or somebody who just does
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
And they all interview at the same time. That way they
Exactly.
get three different perspectives.
And that's great, I mean,
And I interviewed them myself, so whenever like, I don't have any employees anymore. but
Yes,
before the pandemic, it was the supervisor for the employee,
Uh-huh.
the peer, and then somebody who had, just somebody's like a random,
Mhm.
that worked with us.
Mhm.
So it could be, I didn't use it, so it could be like a position, so you have the person treated them.
Yeah.
And that's how we ensure that, it's still not just, it's not just like your coworker, you hate your coworker. it's not just your,
Exactly.
Supervisor, and you hate your,
Mhm.
just everybody.
Yeah. And sooner or later, you have everyone's feedback,
Yeah.
right? You got everyone's feedback, and that's how you work as a team. Yeah, it is difficult, it takes time, it took months for me in certain positions that I had, but you have to integrate them. And that's just you who's making what the decision, right? Any questions? I mean, I can give you on and on and on with examples.
I'm gonna say this, fine, I'm not worded right.
Yeah,
but
that's
you know, like, how do you handle sexual conduct? men's conduct?
Yeah, sexual conduct, well,
Like when, especially with men, sometimes men say things, and they're not,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
How do you?
How do I
how do you
handle that?
in a direct?
Well, you have, and this is, I have all my resources, for example, I interview witnesses. I have anything that you can think of, any type of information that you can gather. Okay, witnesses, cameras, supervisor, I mean, yeah, both of their testimonies. So whenever something happens, like when you have sexual harassment complaint, okay, you have to be equal. You have to get the testimony from the harasser and from the one who was harassed.
So
What do we do? How do you come up with a decision? Is that your question?
no, I think instead of an employee, like I think you're telling me from the boss's perspective, I have the two persons.
Yes, uh-huh.
But
But someone with a position of authority to someone else?
you personally, you as the woman on top, have you encountered that?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Witnesses.
So how would you, okay, so
Mhm.
pretend I'm a man
Yes.
and I come up and I say something vulgar to you.
Mhm.
How would you handle that?
How would I handle that? Okay, not a complaint. I'm thinking a complaint,
No,
like
you're the
for
boss
me.
and somebody picks on you, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm very honest and I tell them I don't appreciate that comment. And that's what I have HR for. I go with HR and I submit a complaint as everyone else. Mhm.
And does it work?
Yes.
It
Yeah,
does.
it does work. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I have had those situations in
Like,
which, mhm,
Being the only female, I just imagine a situation
Mhm.
where the guys like to joke around at the lunch table, or, the comments that can be said. Or-
yes. Mhm.
And if you encounter that, is it a struggle at all to have to report? Because do you feel any type of way, I guess, where you would have to report that complaint because you know that men,
This is how I handle it. For example, if it has happened to me personally, someone of authority, makes a comment directly to me, okay? I say that I don't appreciate it. I go with, because I have a boss, right? I go with my superior. I put everything in writing. Submit as many details as possible, exactly where I was, and so on, because I know if that person did it with me, they also did it with someone else. Right? So, and then after that, when it comes time to, let's say, bring the person who harassed me, it's happened. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind being, it depends, here it goes to how HR wants to handle that. Okay, when I was HR, I prefer to handle it in a way that, well, it depends on the comments, You know, it goes back to the comments and you know, what you heard from witnesses and all that, but. For example, I've been with my harasser, you know, sitting right next to him. You know, and I'm honest, I told him I wasn't appreciative of that, and I came and submitted my complaint. Why? Because I think if you did it with me, you can do it with someone else who is not in a position of authority, who's not afraid of you, right? Who is gonna think twice about submitting a complaint, in which I just don't. I mean, I just go on and do it, right? And then, I mean, it changes the whole course of, you know, the harasser is like, you know, from now on, you know, what does the rule say? Right? I mean, you as a person of authority know what the rules are. If you bend the rules, guess what? It's on you, right? Not on me. But that's how I handle when it has happened to me. When it has happened to someone else, like if you are a person of authority, let's say you are HR, how do you handle that? I gather as many proofs as I can, you know, and come up with a decision. And sometimes if you know, because I've had situations in which, to me, the complaint, it could have been directed to anyone, not necessarily the person, right? So, you know, I talk to both and say, okay, you know, this company is not appreciated. You have to be careful because you never know how someone can interpret that, right? And then with the person who submitted the complaint, say, you know, I already spoke to the person. This comment is mentioned again, you know, the person will proceed with further discipline. Okay, don't be too descriptive of what, okay, because the person wants the other person was fired, right? But not necessarily, you know, maybe what was said wasn't, you know, meant for that person. I mean, you have so many situations, but yeah, when it has come to me, I don't doubt it. It's like that, and it happened early on in my experience, but I felt the urge of like, I didn't even let that person like walk around, or let's say walk away, and just leaving me feeling bad. I said, no, yeah, I addressed it right away.
Okay, so coming back to that.
Mhm.
Have you had complaints from men where females are harassing them or whatever sex are
Yes.
harassing them?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. What does that look like? You have, I mean, it goes back to what? Inconsistent. You have to treat it the same. Lady Justice, you have to treat it the same. You have to be consistent. It doesn't matter though. Because rules are the rules. It doesn't matter. I mean, you have to what? Put a blindfold and say, I got after harassment from someone. You just know don't place a woman or woman. I have heard it from woman to woman. Oh, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, 13 years have taught me a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and then you have to go what? Oh, don't see who it was. Look at the act by itself, regardless of who committed from who to what and all that. It was, you know, what was the situation, the action that was done.
What does it look like at work for you when it
Mhm.
comes to like? I think I'm thinking about your personal journey
Mhm.
as working your way up to the top.
Mhm.
So did you ever feel like you had any, I don't know if animosity is the word, or
Mhm.
men looking like they were more deserving?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I mean, I get it all the time. I get it all the time. I can give you an example of that. All right. Okay. For example, early on, I learned that if I wanted to move up, I needed to know more than everyone. All right. So what did I do? Okay. My economics background, it helped, not so much, right? So I started looking into areas where I could learn more and get up higher. Okay. And one of them was starting to learn how to operate equipment. For me, like, okay, how I operate equipment. So I was nagging my boss, you know, I needed to go this training, I needed to do this training, okay? And yeah, I mean, you will often, and unfortunately, and regardless of the industry, and this is what, you know, everyone tells me. Well, they come back to me with the excuse of, it's too much money. And it's your job to make them think it's an investment, okay? Not an expense. And this is always my hassle, always, always, always. For example, my position when it comes to adopt machinery, new equipment, so on and so on. Yeah, but you know, do we really need to spend that much money? Well, yeah, guess what? You already give me one excuse. I have 4 other reasons why we should get it. Okay, so you have to be what? Learn more. right? You have to be prepared, with all the, with all the reasons why. I'm gonna tell you the money on my case, right? And I said, like, guess what? I have 5 reasons why we should get it. And I already tested them. I mean, that's it. For animosity, okay, to give you an example. So I moved up by learning how to operate equipment. Okay, anyways, so the equipment that I trained and I have trained the most, for example, is sport. And many employees, let's say general labor employees want to learn the forklift because they want to make more money, they want to move up to a higher position, so on and so on, and that's fine, right? But before they do that, they have to be trained. And guess who has to train them? It's right here. Okay. Now, I have had situations in which, HR tells me, okay, Marcela, so get ready, certain, day of the week, to train this many employees on the forklift. Okay, so I just get, the count of HR, and I usually get to, or they get to tell me around what days I can train, depending on, in what the training room is available, and that's fine. So what do? I always get over prepared, and this is what I do. So when the personnel is coming in for training, I already have the booklets, pens, water bottle on the seat, okay, on the table right next to the chairs, okay. So I have had situations in which they walk in and they see me and they ask me, are you gonna train me? Yeah, please take a seat. We're just waiting for the time, and we be right with you. Right, so I don't allow myself to play their game. I mean, I know I sense the vibe, right? They don't like me because I'm a woman. I mean, I don't want to sound like a victim, but, it's like, you are gonna train us, or are you gonna train us? Yeah, please sit down. So I answer, like nothing has happened, and they sit down, right? I've had employees who tell me, well, I've been operating the forklift for 20 years. Why do I have to be trained? Well, because I'm training people who are new, who have never been on the forklift before. And I'm pretty sure that when I start explaining material, if you want to help me, with some feedback, I would really appreciate it. So
Put it
I make
back
it
on
work
them.
as a team. Exactly. Put it back at them. So what do? I take advantage of what their experience, which might not be good, or full of bad habits in my experience, right? But I integrate them. And they feel now they're at ease, that they're like, oh, I get to, speak my mind and say things, right? But you have to, integrate them in such a way that the information, I get to choose what information they say. And for example, it's like we're going through material, right? And I go, for example, okay, so what, the forklift tip over, right? Interesting subject. And I have asked, the people who I know have experience. Okay, how many of you have experience on the forklift? Okay, they raise your hand. Have you ever witnessed someone tipping over? If you have, what kind of accidents have you witnessed this, right? And they just go on, so I get to choose what they tell. Right? I don't just let them speak, although sometimes they want to, and I say, you know what, we're a little bit short on time. Let's move up to the next one. And let's say what has been your experience. I often take their feedback, but yeah, you have the power of how much you allow them to speak and what exactly you want to tell them tell everyone else. Yeah, or I have had also this issue, oh, I got so much experience. What are you gonna tell me, right? Or I have had this rock employees that are like, I already know everything and all that. All right. Then I throw them a question. So do you know how to calculate your alternative load? Oh, can I get them quiet? Well, I'm gonna teach you an easier way to sit down. So in that way, what you learn more than what they think, right? You are over prepared. So that's how I got me hired. Okay, so I get to learn more. And how do you get that? Once you get your mind on what you want to learn, just continue with it. There's so much information, just, Googling it, For example, you want to really learn about, for example, first aid. I didn't get trained on first aid until I was on the like almost a year into occupational safety, because of company didn't want to spend that much money. I mean, I only needed to be trained, but I wanted more to be trained, because again, I couldn't be just the one that knew how to perform first aid, right? So in the meantime, they authorized me, or they wanted to spend the money. What did I do? I bought a book. I started, reading, how do I, manage certain situations? Yeah, and so when it came time, I already knew what to do. And my job, until it got done, was what requesting my boss in this case, like, we got to invest on training. We got to invest in training. I mean, I can't be the one. I'm just one, and we have, for example, my first experience in agriculture was working out in the fields. Okay, so how is there a way that they're in Tacna and I'm right here, right? How can I get first aid right away? We need to train the supervisors and foremen, right? So we get what? Assistance right away. Because, even if they cut a finger, it's something minor that they wanted to take them to the emergency, because they didn't want to deal with that. So you can imagine, the workers' comp insurance, how costly it was, So, yeah, they weren't very happy. So I said, well, we're seeing the cost right here. How can this be lowered? I mean, we have to invest in training. We have to invest in training and things that they got to be done. You just have to be consistent and say, you're gonna face certain situations, and you usually throw them back and say, hey, I told you, this is what we need to get done. So, and again, the more you train and the more you inform the people who are, I don't want to say under you, but the people who work with you, okay, the better it is for you in the short and long run. Any questions? And again, I'm saying this for the guys too, okay, because when you graduate, I'm pretty sure, you're gonna be in certain positions of authority, and don't let them, and this can be applied also, right? You have to, get creative and find ways in which you just are not the only person who does the job.
About delegating.
Yeah.
And what you said about
Mhm.
having everything in writing.
Mhm.
And I think those two go hand in hand.
Mhm.
I don't know if you caught that at all, but you might feel like you're overwhelmed and you have too much, it's good to delegate. And you know what I mean? It's good to have other people help you and whatnot, but always again through your request of what you talk about, like verbally, hey, I need you to do A, B, and C, and things like that. I would say still follow up with an email.
I'm really bad.
You're just like, follow up with an email, hey, earlier, thanks, well, yeah,
Mhm. And CC your supervisor
yeah.
and the owner if possible.
Delegate something.
But when it comes time to delegate,
Yeah.
you just have to, because if you don't, I mean, you are very as busy as it is, right? And I'm telling you, because like I have my phone right here, right? Hoping that nobody calls. But it's not easy though, because you're like, if this person doesn't do it right, you can get in trouble and they can go with the unemployment, to make a complaint. I have those, quite often, right? And fortunately, I can tell you that I have not lost any claims, legal claims, call it EEOC, call the unemployment office, call it whatever. Why? Because I had everything in writing, okay? Everything, all right? For example, if I tell you, okay, that your job is to, as soon as you clock in, okay, you wash your hands. You have to put your gear on. Even if it's just 3 simple things, I put it in writing. You sign it, give you a copy. And I put, I have a clause that says the person has agreed to follow the written procedures and has received a copy of this training. There you go. You have to overthink it. You have to protect yourself in every single angle that you can think you can get. And I haven't lost one. Why? Because, person says he or she didn't know. Oh, really? Boom, there's a training. I submitted it to the until now, and I hope, I continue. Right? Yeah, I haven't lost anyone, because it's very easy, for them to go and complain, and you will get the call right away. I had got OSHA in the plant, okay? Who knows who OSHA is? Not simple, okay? Because they come with a briefcase and they're like, who's in charge of safety? And then, I have to show up. So yeah, it's not easy, but again, okay, it goes back, and what they're looking for is how you told them, is, how you train them. How, do they know? And I started looking at my files, right? Here. I have had OSHA walking in 15 minutes after walking out, because they had everything in paper. That's it. I mean, you have to, and this goes further than just them saying, I don't know. It goes back to protecting your job.
CYOA.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to protecting your jobs. I'm saying, I got really bad because and they, sometimes they want to argue with me, which is like daily, right? Well, it's because I didn't know, and I go, what? You don't know? I might have forgotten. Okay, let's go back and review. And when we have a review, I put the date and I put it, this is a review, and I make them sign. I mean, I'm bad when it comes to putting everything in writing. I mean, again, I go back. It's very simple. If it's not in paper, it's paper. And then this is what I told the supervisors and other managers I work with. I understand that you have the good intentions, right? And then for you might interpret something as putting it in writing, like it being the final, right? And not necessarily has to be, okay? When you put something in writing, you are compromising what the employee, that this is gonna be followed, or this is not gonna occur again, right? You're making them responsible for their job, not your job, their job, right? And this shows what consistency. Okay, they know that the next time they think about breaking the rules, guess what? They already signed and they have understood the rule. So there's no way back once it's in writing. There's no way back. So, and I say, if you want, because this is what I tell supervisors, you can't split yourself into three and be there at all times. Once you are, because I told them, yes, I train, and my job is training and all that, but once you train, you're delegating, right? The responsibility. You expect them to do what you told them. Right? Okay. All right. So I always say, do you think you were clear when you gave the instructions? Yes. And often the answer is, yeah, I think I over-explained. Okay. So you think your instructions were difficult to follow? No. Okay. So what do you expect the employee, in this case, the employee to do? Follow. Okay. Did he or she did? No. Okay, then you need to proceed and proceed. Did you put it in writing? And often it's like, okay, if you didn't put it in writing before, you need to put it in writing now. Okay. And that is a way that, again, and they don't have to work more on what they have worked. This is how you show them that they, it's just not, you're protecting your job, right? And this is also a way, you don't have to be on the person again and again. Like, you don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I say, we don't hire minors. We don't, right? We hire adults that we expect them to understand and just do their job. That doesn't get more complicated than that. And they want to make it complicated, or well, we just have to, follow up with what we initially instructed. That's it. Yeah, but put it in writing and protect yourself. Any more questions? I'm pretty sure you have other more questions, but yeah. So,
I'll send them on to you if they do.
all right.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think it's different in different types of workforces?
Mhm.
For example, I'm in the auto program. Do you think it's different for agriculture since it's male dominated?
No, not really. No. My sister-in-law is a nurse, and she does exactly with the same thing. For example, my my youngest sibling, he is supervisor at a pharmacy, a pharmaceutical company. It's a boy, exactly the same. And you know, and you have, and this is often what I encounter, not necessarily just men towards me. I like older women towards me, it's exactly the same. You know, I'm often tested on how much I know. And that's what I know, and this is the advice for everyone, you have to over prepare. Once you get in your mind that you want to learn something, just stick with it. Okay, if you don't know it, you have any doubts, okay, that's what you have to work as a team and ask the other, you know, your coworkers, in my case, the other departments, you know, when this happens, you know, what, I mean, I think this should be done, but what is your feedback? Right. You have to integrate them always. Okay, because you can't just alone do the job. And yeah, and going back to the question, automotive is exactly, I mean, in my end, it's the same. I mean, in what situation do you want to ask a specific situation?
No, just in general, because I was curious.
No, I mean, it's the same. I mean, and for example, my brother, he's 26. People, you know, almost twice his age, they get hired just as a regular pharmacist technician. And when it comes time for him, especially to discipline or, you know, to train them, you know, it's like, what do you know? You know, well, let me explain and you can decide how much I know. Right? And I have seen it with younger people. I've seen it with older women. I've seen it with older men to women. I mean, I've seen it in many different situations, regardless of the age and gender. But yes, you know, regardless of your position and what industry you work on, it's just writing it, and it's gonna take a while. But let me tell you, after you get into the habit of writing, after that, it just comes off, like, you know, writing pages and pages and pages and pages, and then, you know, yeah, when going back to your example, you know, when you are on your advice to her, yeah, you know, put it in writing, say, you know, this is what I did, this is what I did. See the supervisor. I have copied the owners of the company because something was not being done, and I knew if it wasn't getting done, we were gonna get in trouble. Okay, yeah, and that person, once I see the owners, they didn't like it. The supervisor, well, why do you need to do that? Well, because you guys are not doing, you know, what we're supposed to, and I'm protecting my job. I'm trying to protect you too.
Having it put in the job where it was discussed, well, hey, are you doing that in meetings? Are you getting that done? I told my boss, I didn't, you know, she said we didn't tell us, but every time after that. I sent them an email, just let you know I'm done, just let you know I'm done. And it's her boss.
Her boss? Did you put a list of what you got done?
Very
Good.
specific.
Mm-hmm.
And even basic tasks, I've learned along the way. Even if it's something simple, I keep a tally of everything that I do, so I know that if I ever get questioned, that was that.
Yeah.
Because there will be something, always.
Something comes up all the time. And then you also have to deal with, I had a few years back when my boss was, from one day to the other, was someone else. And you're like, you know, I already know how to work with this person, right? What am I supposed to do? Right? And then it just goes back to, well, I'm pretty sure he or she would like to know what is going on. So for everything I see them, the first thing that as soon as I learned who that person was, I wrote an email saying, you know, this is my position, this is where I work at, and you know, I would like to have a quick meeting with you, you know, to get to learn. You know, what is the best way you want me to communicate? I mean, I was like open, again, trying to establish that teamwork. Yeah.
We're running out of time.
Okay.
And I gotta talk to them about a couple of things, but you know, hey, thanks, Marcela. You are amazing. I love her. She tells me all the things I need to do to my groceries that I never do. In order to Make sure they're safe, and clean. I so appreciate you coming
Yeah,
here and
anytime.
doing this. This was really cool. Well, and we're gonna see her on Thursday for Good Morning America, or Good Morning. America. Good Morning, Yuma. So she's gonna come hang with us.
So who is gonna be there? Who's
Nick
gonna win the parade?
Nick is Myra, I think you're going. Good Morning, Yuma. Yeah. Juan, I don't know if you're going. Yeah, she doesn't want to get up. Isaac's going. He usually goes.
Not a morning person.
Yeah. So I guess an Angel's going. So, yeah, so I think we got about 10 people that are going.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so, but they're not all here. Lizette Lopez, Lizette Hawes may be going. I'm not sure if Ricardo is. So yeah. Yeah, it is still recording. So anyhow,
Thank you
So,
very much.
we will see you.
I will
on
see you next
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thank you, thank
And
you,
I
thank
go
you.
back to work because, you don't need it, guess what? They do things the wrong way. Okay, see you Thursday. Thank
We'll see you later. Bye.
Oh, you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know how to put it down. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Can I bring my like stuff to like this room or your office because I don't know what's putting.
You can bring it to the thing because I won't be at my, I'll go straight to Good Morning.
I'll just put it somewhere. Fine.
Yeah, just put it like bringing a purse, throw it under the table. That's what I do. So, okay, go.
Takeover tomorrow. Panda at the mall from 5:30 to 10. It's on
Oh.
Instagram.
Yeah, and here's the deal is all you have to do is just go and then show me a receipt and you get extra credit.
Oh, I'll do it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's easy. I'm gonna,
So, no, you're fine. So you basically tell them that you're there for the business, because we have like an Instagram page where it has like, you show them the flyer. Yeah, there's a